The timing is very interesting. This is just an update about what's going on in Syria. We are the 10th of March 2025. So with the blessing of the United States, a joint agreement has been signed between Mazloum Abdi, the head of SDF, and Abu Muhammad al-Julani, the self-appointed president of Syria. So the document mentions guaranteeing equal rights. All Syrians shall have the right to representation, participation in the political process, and inclusion in the state institutions based on merit, irrespective of their religious or ethnic background. Amazing. Sounds surreal, right? Recognition of the Kurdish community. The Kurdish community is acknowledged as an integral part of the Syrian state, as it should be, with full citizenship, good, and constitutional rights guaranteed. Comprehensive ceasefire. This is very important. A nationwide ceasefire shall be implemented across all Syrian territories to end hostilities and pave the way for stability. And then integration of civil and military institutions, which means all civil and military structures in northeastern Syria under the control of SDF, including border crossings, airports, and oil and gas fields, shall be integrated under the administration of the Syrian state. Safe return of displaced Syrians, which means all displaced Syrians shall be ensured a safe and dignified return to their towns and villages with state-guaranteed protection. Defense and security coordination. The Syrian state shall receive full support in its efforts to combat Assad's militias and all threats endangering the security and unity of the country. So I don't know if SDF and Al-Qaeda are going to fight together against the religious minorities there, because this is in no way or shape a fight or a battle against the so-called Assad militias, but rather against civilians. We've seen the footage, we've seen the video. The vast majority of the casualties were from the civilians, unarmed people who were killed inside their homes or taken away outside their homes and summarily executed in the streets. I watched it, you watched it, everybody saw it. So there could be, of course, a former Syrian army militants, soldiers there who are resisting the al-Nusra rule over Latakia, Tartus, Jabli, and Banyas. However, their numbers are first very few, and secondly, they are in no way or shape affiliated with Assad, because these soldiers believe that Assad betrayed them. If Assad returns, he would get killed by this same so-called Assad loyalists or Assad militias. So they are rejecting division and hate speech in all forms of sectarianism. Ethnic division and incitement of violence or hatred shall be all rejected. Amazing, and this would be implemented no later than the end of 2025. So how is this going to reflect on the rest of Syria? We have to wait and see the implementation of this agreement and whether or not the areas controlled by SDF would return into some sort of northern Kurdistan region in Baghdad with, let's say, some political, economic, and military authorities or self-autonomy. We will follow that for sure, because what is written and what is signed on paper could not mean or could not be translated the way it is later in the near future. But at the same time, we're receiving some news, and this time from Pravda. Pravda is a Russian website, and they say that Russia may work with US and Israel to build Alawite state in Syria. And the article basically says that both the Russian and the US ambassadors in the UN are on the same side, and they have presented together a call for UN Security Council meeting, and they are agreeing largely on a document about Syria. Let's see what is going to be the content of this document, but the speculations here is from the Russian side that the so-called Syrian president Ahmad Shara or Abu Muhammad al-Julani has failed to unite Syria as promised. They say, due to his terrorist background. In the north, the Kurds refused to cooperate with him. This was published just a few hours before this agreement, while in the south, the Jews resisted with open backing from Israel. According to Israeli channel I-24, reported that Alawite leaders had sent a letter to Israeli authorities requesting protection from the new Syrian leadership. I've seen this also today on social media. Many Israeli influencers, talking heads, and journalists have written about it. I haven't seen the document myself, but it could be sent by anyone. We don't know if the Alawites have a representative for themselves in Latakia or outside of Syria. However, this is the claim from the Israeli press. Article goes further by saying After Bashar al-Assad's forces effectively surrendered the country to pro-Turkish Islamists, Russia has refrained from intervening in Syria's internal affairs. Moscow initially sought an agreement with the new authorities to maintain its military bases in the country, and Putin even called al-julani to discuss potential cooperation. However, they say any negotiation now appears highly uncertain. Terrorists have revealed their true intentions, making al-julani's assurances unconvincing. And finally, a more promising approach for Moscow would be to collaborate with the US and Israel on establishing an Alawite state in the relevant provinces, where Russia's naval base and Khmeimim airfield are located. They claim that Israel, on their side, are insisting on maintaining Russia's military presence in Syria, and they have urged Washington to support this effort. The greatest nightmare for Israelis remains the prospect of Syrian Islamists advancing towards their borders. I'm not sure about that. However, it is very interesting to see the Russian cooperation and collaboration with the US and Israel, and this perfectly goes with my sources, which claimed a few days ago that Israeli and Russian intelligence have met, security officials and intelligence, and Israel demanded from Russia to stay and also to try to minimize the Turkish influence, especially in the Mediterranean, and this requires a Russian participation or presence in the Mediterranean, and this also, the same voices were echoed in Greece and Cyprus. They don't want for Turkey to have an influence more, let's say, in power or improve its influence, especially that in front of the Syrian shores there could be large gas fields, and nobody in the region, including Cyprus, Greece, and Israel, would like to see for Turkey to have its hands over the Syrian gas fields. Therefore, the Israeli side told the Russians that they are able to demilitarize the south and push al-Julani's forces away, which they practically have done. And secondly, in the shores, they don't have an access geographically. Therefore, this could be Russia's opportunity to seize this opportunity and create an Alawite state. Maybe they include the Christians with them. I'm not saying I'm with or against. I'm definitely very suspicious about Israeli intervention and Israeli demands in this case. I'm just telling you the facts or the reports that I'm receiving. And this report now from the Russian source, it just comes together with my source, which is from influential Arabic countries, and he told me yesterday that this is being cooked and ready, and now this could be the meeting now in the UN Security Council between Russia, the US, and the rest. This could be the beginning of the Balkanization of Syria. I'm not saying it will happen or it will not, but we will keep an eye on it. This was another short video for you guys about what's happening in Syria. Peace be upon you, peace be upon the Syrian people. Salam.